Tom Tilley, thank you very much for talking to me today.
My pleasure.
Can I ask you, first of all, what is it that you love so much about radio?
There's lots of things that I love about radio. I love the chance that you get to interact with the audience, which is a great part of being on the radio at this point in history, where we can be interacting with our audience on Twitter, Facebook, SMS, phone, Skype, instantaneously. And so you're hosting a live show like Hack, you're getting to thread together multiple layers of conversations all at once, which is fantastic. I love radio also because the production can be so flexible that you can do things really quickly, or you can really produce something up into a really luscious, beautiful piece of audio that might take you 3 or 4 months to work on. But you can also just quickly get someone up on the phone if something's happening right here and now. Like I remember this amazing moment we had during the tsunami in Japan, where this Australian was trying to get on a bus in a city in the north of Japan where the earthquake had done heaps of damage. And we just checked in with him on the phone at various points of him trying to find consular support to be transported out of this disaster zone. And just the immediacy of this guy's situation and what he was trying to do was conveyed so powerfully in just a simple phone interview. But then, I've had the chance to make things in the past that are so carefully produced and layered and thought out that can be equally as compelling. So you have this incredibly flexible medium that can be powerful in so many different ways.
Hack is an incredibly successful program. What do you think are the really important, essential ingredients that it has that makes it so successful?
I think the most important thing is getting our audience, understanding them, understanding what they want to hear and the best ways to bring that content to them, and knowing what's important in their lives, what matters to them, what's going to really get them listening, what's going to get them reacting. That's a really crucial part of it. And then I think it's about getting the tone right as well, and coming at the topics in a way that feels real and relatable and authentic. And I think that's what Hack has managed to keep doing, is to be authentic and be believable and build trust with the audience. So we get such a high volume of interaction. When they don't like something we do, they tell us, and you take that as a compliment, because it means they're invested in your program and how you're doing things. Like, can't believe you're covering this today when this is going on. It's because they care, and they're coming to you as one of their key sources of information.
So, because Hack is quite unique, it's a different tone to the other radio current affairs programs that the ABC broadcasts, and I guess that's the key, that you massage all the stories that you do for your very specific audience. And I notice as I've been listening to the program that there are some unique elements in it that I suppose do cater for that. For example, I notice you use music extensively throughout the program, even as a backtrack to the packages that are filed. How important is that?
Yeah, well, the thing about Hack is it's half an hour of current affairs type radio that's jammed in between music shows. So you do have to be conscious of the pace and the timing of the show, and production techniques like using music and the way we cut our packages is a really important way of controlling that pace. And we mix that up with live segments that might slow down, but in a very conscious way.
So that's all. That music is all about keeping pace maintained.
It's about keeping people interested and making these stories sound interesting and exciting and drawing people in, and also delivering it in a way that they can follow as a radio listener. And I'm very aware that there's a lot of other distractions when people are listening to the radio. It's very different to making a podcast, for example. People are driving their cars, washing up, doing their homework when they're listening to us. So it needs to jump out, it needs to catch their ear. So any techniques you can use from the radio toolbox, which includes music, but also just includes like classic old-fashioned things like a live cross. It's like the day after the Greyhound live baiting scandal erupted. Stephen Stockwell is at a Greyhound racing track right now. Stephen, what are people saying there? Or no, I'm down here and no one wants to talk to me because everyone's, really on the back foot after the Four Corners last night. And so things like that will just catch people's ear. And music is just one of those tools in the radio toolbox that you can make sure people are like staying really engaged.
So texting, you've already mentioned that's, an important...
Texting's huge.
Yeah, it is huge. You're right, because I was listening to the program this morning and almost after every single item, you looked at texts and you spoke to your audience about what people were saying via text.
Do you think that works? Do you think that sounds engaging?
I thought it was really interesting because it's so different to what we do.
Yeah.
And for your audience, yeah, I think it would be engaging.
Yeah, I think it's really important.
I don't know how that would work for our audience.
Yeah.
Maybe not as well. I don't know.
It's different because, it's different. Like on AM and PM, the level of analysis is really strong and, quite rich in a way. Whereas, people's off-the-cuff opinions are potentially not on that same level, whereas we're sort of trying to deliver the content on the same level as the audience. So people's off-the-cuff views don't seem like a huge leap or a step down. It's like it's just part of the conversation, and I want the show to feel like it's a constantly open conversation, that you're involved, whether you're shouting at the radio or texting in, you're kind of part of it. And I always try and change my language and my writing and my intro so that each story is actually a conversation. Or check this out. Did you know this? Did you know about this? And it's sort of like drawing them in to get invested in the conversation. Also, the key thing I try and do with my writing is to get people to write it in a tight way that makes people already form an opinion in their own mind. What do you think about this? Because once someone's already gone, well, I reckon that's absolute bullshit, actually, quite frankly. And once someone's already had their own reaction to a story, they're going to keep listening because they want to hear what other people think and they want to hear some resolution.
So you almost try to polarize the audience with the intro that you write?
Not in a completely binary way.
No.
But definitely get them thinking where they stand on something. And it may be a left-right issue, or it might be a yes or no, or it might be more nuanced than that, or it might be to get them to reflect on a personal story that relates to that topic rather than form a yes or no opinion. Yeah, so I find the text line crucial, and I reckon like maybe even more than a lot of the social media platforms that have evolved in the last 5 to 10 years, that like I reckon the text line has been one of the biggest technological advancements in radio of the last 10 years. I really do, because it's so immediate and everyone has a phone on them. Not everyone's used to using Twitter or Facebook in that way, with that responding in that sort of timing. So at this point in time, like 2015, I still think text is one of the biggest developments in live radio. And
I notice you'll even interrupt your interviews to go to the texts and to tell listeners what the texters are saying about what's just been said by the talent, and then back to the interview.
Yeah. So it's that constantly interwoven discussion between you, the audience, and the guest. Like it's doors always open. And I just, my hunch or my hope or my theory is that makes people really feel like they're right in the room.